So stay with me. You ready? Raiders! Yeah, now we warmed up. See, that's what we're talking about. Antonio Pierce.
Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Hey, welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Put on Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with Ryan Holmes, and we are podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, so check me out there. And Ryan is RHOLM22. Back from his travels, just to come home for a little bit and go on other travels, but I'm happy to have Ryan back on the show. Ryan, how you doing today?
Good. It feels like it's been a long time since I've been on the show. Now that training camp's here, it's kind of settled down on my end. It's time to get back into Raiders football and find out what's going on at training camp and what the season might look like.
So the guy who really is going to get props right now from a lot of Raider fans who Raider fans are really appreciating is Logan Revere. I think he works at Channel 8, ABC affiliate out there in Vegas, and he's giving you kind of like a play-by-play of like what's happening in camp. And he tweeted out today, the offense is having a bounce back day. They needed something because they were not doing from all accounts, they weren't doing anything. So, and that's the part of the football team that everybody's going to be having their eye on is the offensive unit. I did want to have your thoughts about that before we jump into the offensive line.
Yeah, now the pads have come on. It's a little bit different. It's hard to judge what the offense is doing when basically the offensive linemen don't have a way to block. Yep. The defense can have their way. There's no tackling. So we're in day 2 now of pads being on. It sounds like the offense has come out today, and I believe Gardner Minshew got most of the ones today. And it's kind of taken a step forward, advanced the ball, scored some touchdowns. So we'll see what it looks like. I know it's a new offense. The Raiders are currently missing 2 starters along that offensive line with Miller and Jackson Powers being out due to injury. But the fact that it sounds like the offense is having a little bit of success today, it sounds like Devontae Adams is a lot more involved today than he's been leading up to today in camp, getting him targets. It sounds like he's having his way with the secondary. So we're going to hear these reports day in and day out. It's not doom or gloom. I know a lot of people see the defense is dominating. They're questioning the offense. The offense moves the ball. You start questioning the defense. One of them is going to have success on any given play. The Raiders don't have joint scrimmages, so we're not going to hear a lot about that behind the scenes. It's basically we're just going to have to rely on the 3 preseason games to see what these guys look like in live reps. I don't expect them to name a quarterback. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they took this all the way up to kickoff of week 1 and not announced who the starter is going to be. I don't think either one of these guys has separated themselves. There's no reason to name it.
Yeah,
there's no reason for Pierce to come out and give the Chargers a leg up and say, hey, game plan for Minshew or game plan for O'Connell. The team will know. But I don't expect them to actually announce anything.
Yeah, that's true. Offensive line. So we all like the JPJ pick. Right now, Colton Miller is out with a shoulder injury. Thayer Munford, I think he returned from the hand, right? So it sounds like yesterday. That. And they drafted. I haven't heard anything in camp from DJ Glaze, but the one thing I wanted to. Miller, I think we can just give a little bit of he's a professional. He's been in the league for a long time. I expect Miller to know his body and be ready for week 1 against the Chargers. JPJ kind of left the Senior Bowl because of the injury. Are you worried about him? Because I do want to see this line be fully intact, at least without Colton at least, and then just so I can see what so he can get acclimated to the pro game and get in there. I'm kind of anxious to see whether or not Powers Johnson is going to end up being a part of the squad in training camp, where we had to wait all the way to week 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't sound the alarm bells yet. We're a week into training camp. We're day 2 of padded practices. He's nowhere to be seen. This is becoming an issue. Mm-hmm. He's a rookie that has to adjust to playing in a new system. He's playing a new position. He was a center last year. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong. I believe he played a majority of right guard at Oregon. They're asking him to play left guard. So he's on the other side of the line. So every day that he misses is a rookie. is setting him back. He missed a lot of time in OTAs. He doesn't have those reps either. So if we get past, the first preseason game and we get close to the second one and he's not practicing, I think it's going to be a bit of a stretch to think that he's a day one starter against the Chargers, and the Raiders may have to lean on some of that veteran depth. That they signed Pete away from the Saints, who has some experience inside, as well as Cody Whitehair. So every day that goes by that JPJ is not in pads and practicing, it is more cause for concern for week one. Now, is it going to be an issue week 5, week 6, week 7? Probably not. But this team is not good enough offensively to be able to not have all their pieces in place for 3 or 4 weeks and expect to be there in December when it matters.
And especially with that, you don't want, at least if you get outside pressure, you can step up in the pocket, but you get interior pressure with the guys who they have even if you had a scrambler, a guy who can move around, interior pressure is like a death to any offense as far as that goes. Running the running game, you have Zamir White, obviously. I think he had a fumble yesterday, and then you have Madison, and then Dylan Lobby, who is taking first team snaps as a third down back. It seems like this team really likes him a lot. It seems like he's probably quicker than fast, but he's making plays out there. This is probably, I can't think of a time where the Raiders had a less heralded running back room than this year, right? So what are your thoughts about Lobby probably like maybe being the third round back, but then also, Zamir White and Addison? Like the whole key to this offense is going to be play action. I think last year, his numbers are on play action. Aiden O'Connell was much better than it was just in standard pass plays.
Yeah, this team has to be able to run the football. That's what Antonio Pierce wants to do. They want to be a ground and pound play action, take their shots downfield when it's there. This is not going to be an explosive offense. They're not going to put up 24 to 30 points a game. I don't expect that at all. We saw this last year when Antonio Pierce was in charge. It's run the football, don't turn the ball over, control the clock, and win with your defense. That's what they're going to want to do. That's the recipe. They can't be in second and long. They can't be in 3rd and 8+ and expect to be able to consistently move the football. Having said that, again, Lobby's getting a lot of love right now. He's quick. He can get out in space and make plays. Let's put the pads on and see what he looks like stepping up and taking on a linebacker. We don't know that. Mm-hmm. If he's going to be the third down back, he has to pass protect. So I don't know if he's ready week 1 to be the third down back. Can he do that? Hopefully he can take that spot, and he knows all the protections and all the calls and knows where to be, and then he can be an asset out of the backfield as a receiver. It's still going to be hard, I think, for them, unless he just blows away Amir Abdullah. Amir is he's a good pass blocker. He knows the offense and where to pick guys up. He'll be the third down back unless Lobby shows that he can do that. We don't know that he can. Now, is Zamir White and Madison the 1-2 punch that's going to be able to run the ball and control the clock for this team? We don't know that. Yep. Zamir White looked good for 4 games. He has never done it over 17 games, week in and week out, when defenses are game planning for him. We'll see. We'll see. I know he got in the weight room and he's big. Can he hold on to the ball? Is he still explosive on long runs? Is it more of a just between the tackles guy now? We don't know that. And then Madison, for his ups and downs, like he's an okay number 2. It is interesting. The Raiders were in on Cam Akers, it sounds like, before he signed with Houston. So the Raiders are definitely looking for another back to add to this mix, which they should. They should continue to upgrade this running back position as much as they can, and they should do that at every position on the roster, to be honest.
Yeah, no question about it. I did see it. I didn't realize they weren't in on Cam Akers, but I did for your Cam Akers. I mean, I can't fault him for going where he went, but I mean, they do need somebody badly in that running back room. I think so, because this is something that Zamir has never done it before. Not that he can't, but that's a big step. That's a big step to being the full-time guy every week, being that starting running back in National Football League. Vic Tafur had that report that came out talking about AP's contract and it only being a 2-year deal. That is not common. I would think. I mean, for the most part, guys get 3-year deals or longer. Do you feel like this was okay? We're giving you a chance to be the head coach. It's going to be a 2-year deal. do you think that the culmination of the 10 years he gave Gruden, the 6 years he gave Josh McDaniels was like, hey, I'm going to slow my rope as far as giving out long contracts to head coaches. I'm going to let him prove it a little bit. Obviously, if they win 10 games this year, I'm sure he could be able to renegotiate and get a little bit more of an extension because you don't want a lame duck coach. But what are your thoughts about that part of it for him? Because that's very weird for an NFL head coach to get. You can get a 2-year extension, but not to be like you're starting off as a head coach and have a 2-year deal.
Yeah, it is interesting. It was only 2. We had speculated it might be 3, but it sounds like it's a 2-year deal. Now, I get both sides of it. Antonio Pierce is betting on himself, and if the Raiders win 10 games and go to the playoffs, they're not going to make him a lame duck coach. He'll get an extension immediately to extend that contract. And then Mark Davis on his is protecting his side of this, saying if this doesn't work out in year 1 or year 2, then I can walk away and I'm not on the hook for 3 years left of a contract while I'm still paying all these other guys. So we knew that if you go back to when the head coaching search took place, if it wasn't going to be Harbaugh and they weren't getting a big star and they were going to give Pierce the chance, they weren't going to commit themselves to Antonio Pierce for 4 or 5 or 6 years. Yeah. It's more of, let's see if you can do what you did at the end of last year. Can you do that over a whole season? If you can,